Is Henkel quite happy just to sit in behind Sleptseva of Russia. Reasonably easy course as far as the gradient goes for the women. Now Henkel starts to make a move, just breaking to the left of Sleptseva and wanting to match the Norwegian. You're not going to win it on this first leg, but you can certainly throw the relay away with misses, and that happened. That's just a tendency of the Norwegians. They lose control on that first shoot and then they play catch up for the rest of the race. Many distinguished guests due to visit the championships over the next 10 days or so. And they should see some very tight racing indeed. Having a chat with one of the Russian commentators, and he was quite happy to admit that there is a chance that the top 4 or 5 teams will all finish within 30 seconds of each other in this particular mixed relay. Amanda Lightfoot there wearing 25, easily distinguished with the British ski suit. Tore Berger of Norway has been on pretty good form. All the Norwegians heading home after their efforts out in the United States. They've put a lot of work into the World Cup this year. Certainly Terje Bo, who runs for the Norwegian men, he's his focus pretty much entirely on winning the overall World Cup this year. So he's not as fresh as he might be. Oliana Bjorndalen, those of you who've been following the World Cup over the year will know that life, and he said he can't believe how frustrated he got by not being able to get out and train. But the good news for Norway is that he's been out training. He's been doing some very hard training. In fact, he's been up at altitude to prepare for this race. Not all the teams have done that, but Oliana feeling that that is the best way he can get himself into a position where he can win races. And when he's on his very best form, well, we know exactly what he can do. So Germany, the reigning champions, they won in 2008 and they won again last year on these very tracks. It was part of the last World Cup of the season. Only 2 changes to their team since then. No surprise to see Henkel coming in instead of Hauswald, who of course is retired, and Mickey Grice is in the lineup, and of course Mickey taking the anchor leg for Germany, a role that he's done many times before, and a role that he's done very successfully in the past. Of course, part of the team that won the Olympic title in 2006 in Torino, which was really where Mickey Grice came to our notice in such style. So in they come for the first shoot of the championships, and just a reminder that they shoot in the lane that corresponds to the bib number, but only for this first shoot. And the Americans, having chat with them just before the race, they've been trying out this morning. They were free to use whichever lane they wanted to. They did some shooting in lane 1 and lane 30. There was a difference of 6 clicks, so just over a kilometre, just over a centimetre's difference between the 2 positions. And so once this race develops, you have to be very aware of what the wind is doing in your particular lane. Germany and Norway, 2 clean shots. Misses coming from Henkel of Germany. Remember, they have spare rounds. Berger has missed as well. All the top teams throwing shots wide. 2 miss for Germany, 2 miss for Russia as well. 3 miss for Sleptseva. That's a disaster now. She can't afford another mistake, or Russia will get the worst possible start and be on the penalty loop. Sweden with 1 miss so far. Italy, Belarus, Austria are the teams that have gone clear in the early stages, and the centre part of the range is where the shooting conditions are easiest. Now Norway get away with no mistakes as far as penalty loops go, but an opportunity there for Tore Berger to open up a lead, and it has not been taken. And you can see from those targets that many misses. Amanda Lightfoot of Great Britain, who shot so well in Italy at the European Championships last week, 4 misses already. She is on the penalty loop. Whatever happens, she needs to get that last shot down. she has done so. So just one penalty loop for Great Britain, and that's bad news in their quest to avoid being lapped in this race. So difficult conditions, and actually looking down in lane 25, the wind conditions much stronger than they were 20 minutes ago when most of the teams were just wrapping up their zeroing. So Romania, a surprise leader after shoot number 1. The Swiss, who were hoping to finish in the top 15 today, they've got themselves in a good position. Italy, Poland, Slovakia all in the top 5. None of the favourites have got away cleanly. Tora Berger just 5.6 seconds behind for Norway, just ahead of... Welcome back to Khanty-Mansijsk. Well, it's been a ropey start for the Russians, the host nation in this mixed relay. They've missed 4 targets in all and have incurred 1 penalty loop. So Sleptseva of Russia has a lot of catching up to do. She's over 40 seconds behind. We'll get another impression here at 2.9 kilometers. Kuzmina, the Olympic sprint champion, leading the way at the moment for Slovakia. Tora Berger, well, that's just the job that she was asked to do. Stay up the front and make sure that Flatland doesn't have too much work to do on leg number 2. That is the key leg if the Norwegians are going to secure success here today. Bjorndalen and Bo are the 2 selected to run the 2 male legs on this mixed relay. Emil Hegler Svensson, well, many of you may know that he was just waiting, held back, didn't come over with the rest of the team. He was waiting to see whether he was selected to race in Oslo at the cross-country or the Nordic World Championships. That hasn't happened, and so he made his way out on Monday night, and because of that, they always knew that Svensson would not be a part of this mixed relay, and just because he wasn't selected, he didn't put pressure on the team to change their minds. Seems to be fairly harmonious in the Norwegian camp at the moment. There's always talk of a rift between Bjorndalen and Svensson, and of course with Terje Bo coming up and stealing much of the glory this year. Questions as to the team spirit, but I can assure you that things are looking very good, and Ole-Einar Bjorndalen in particular is as keen to win a relay medal as he is to win an individual one. And that's always nice to see from a champion of his ilk. Well, here are the leading 2. Kuzmina leading Tora Berger. Tora Berger in the red, as many of you will know, the Norwegian colours. Team number 18 have had a sensational start. That's Switzerland. And the Swiss have the 2 Gasperin sisters taking legs 1 and 2, with Elisa, the younger one, who's been racing on the IBU Cup and the Junior World Championship. She takes leg number 2. If they can finish in the top 15 today, they'll be delighted with that. Now, Tora Berger, big moment for her, and of course for Slovakia with Anastasia Kuzmina. Norway have never won the world title in the mixed relay, and I think, to be honest, this is the first time that they've put in the strongest possible team. Not easy to select your races in a team like Norway, Germany, Russia, and for the first time ever, the coach is having problems because so many people wanted to be part of this event, whereas in the past everyone's just sulked away under the desks and into the corners, not really wanting to jeopardize their chances of success in other events for the sake of the mixed relay. But it's a different story this time round, and a good thing too, because members of the IOC here today who are looking to watch the mixed relay and assess whether it should be part of the Olympic programme, which of course it's not at the moment, but it might well be in Sochi. Good lead for Tora Berger now. 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. Solid shooting. Oh, that's a fantastic start for Norway. And they're going to have at least a 10-second lead over the rest of the teams. Romania coming with good shooting for the 2nd time in this race. And the Italians with Michela Ponza. That's a cracking start for the Italians. They got Katja Haller on leg number 2, and then De Lorenzi and Hoffer. So they're as quick as anyone out there. Germany get the targets down. Good shooting from Andrea Henkel in the stand position, making up for mistakes in the prone, where she required 2 spares, found herself nearly 15 seconds completely, but she could certainly get within 10 seconds of the lead if Tora Berger starts to tire, having put in a strong leg. The Swedes 25 down. Helena Ekholm of Sweden missing 2 initially in the prone, and as usual clearing up the standing targets without too much trouble. Gasperin of Sweden requires 3 spares, but all 5 have gone down. The French, one of the potential winners here today, they're going to be at least 55 seconds off the lead. We'll watch them go through just behind the Swiss. France now 1 minute exactly behind Norway. Not the best of starts, but it's far from over. Marie Dorin takes the second leg for the French, someone who's been shooting very well indeed, and of course the bronze medalist from the Olympic sprint event in Vancouver last year. Alexis Berth and Martin Fourcade taking legs 3 and 4. Simon Fourcade not getting the call up, and a little bit of concern about the psyche of Simon Fourcade. He's such a talent, he's worked so hard. He is of course the older of the 2 brothers, and I think he's found it quite hard to cope with the fact that his younger brother has just shot up through the rankings and is now achieving everything that Simon has tried to do over the last 10 years. If they both get to their very best form, the French are going to be a formidable force over the next couple of seasons. So here comes Tora Berger leading the way for Norway, some 10 seconds ahead. Welcome back to Khanty-Mansijsk. The leading team's just going through 4.9 kilometers. They've got another 1,100 meters to go, with one stiff climb back up into the stadium before they hand over to the second leg runners. Berger, Kuzmina, Ponza, the leading 3 teams. Henkel was 18, now 23. Tora Berger is having an absolute flyer. They said she was on good form, and a little bit of a surprise because over in the United States, although she was still racking up one top 5 finish after another, she certainly didn't look quite as sparky as she did in Ruhpolding, Oberhof and Antolz, but the little rest that she's had seems to have paid off, and she's looking as fluent as she ever has done on a pair of skis. Lovely style from Berger, lengthening that lead over Italy and Slovakia, who are in 3rd and 2nd respectively. There's Andrea Henkel in 4th place, just skiing ahead of Helena Ekholm. Ekholm, incidentally, 4 spare rounds required today, which is 4 more than normal. Maybe an indication of how tough the conditions are, maybe an indication that she doesn't enjoy the major championships. Certainly had a massive loss of form over in Vancouver last year. Poland, Austria, Belarus and Switzerland all in the top 10 at this stage of the race. Teams that have certainly underperformed on the first leg. The French, who are a minute behind the leaders, and just looking for progress of the Russian team, who are yet to go through the 4.9 kilometer stage, so they're at least 1 minute 45 behind. A disastrous start for the host nation, and I hope that doesn't set the standard as far as these championships go, because we need Russia to be on form, not only for the sake of packing out the stadium with fans, but also just to boost the atmosphere, which I have to say is absolutely tremendous for the first day of the championships. Well, there is Flatland of Norway. What a job she has on her hands now. This may be the biggest moment of her career. She has won a World Cup this year, so certainly don't rule her off or write her off at this stage. But she, like Berger, was looking tired out in USA. Over the next 25 minutes or so, we're going to find out exactly what she can do. Norway's success very much depending on what Flatland does over the next 20 minutes. 12th in the World Cup standings. She won't be thinking about that. She will be thinking about the other 3 team members. And away she goes. 6 kilometers the distance to be covered. Anastasia Kuzmina of Slovakia. 3 podiums so far this season in individual races. She's done exceptionally well to finish leg number 1 in 2nd position, ahead of Germany, ahead of France, ahead of Russia. She's taken some big scalps today. course now, and this is another big question mark. What sort of form is Zidek on? And with Magdalena Neuner of Germany starting just a second behind her, that is going to be an almighty battle that might well determine who wins here today, because Sweden and Germany, despite being 25 seconds down on Norway, will still fancy their chances of taking the victory. Romania, an outstanding performance